see it as E3, I expect this to be like a shadow drop, because usually when they get into this stage of the beta...
What?
What?
What do you mean a shadow drop? What are you talking about right now?
What are you complaining about and questioning right now?
Wow, if anybody wanted to know what our show is about, we could play that 5-second clip of me being like, "What are you talking about?" and you being like, "What are you complaining about?" And that's the show. That is the damn show.
30 episodes just recapped right there.
Wow. How beautiful. It's like poetry. Hello, my green and red shells. Welcome to the Nintendo Everything Podcast, episode 30. I am your host, Oni Dino. With me, I have a banana peel, freshly tossed. It's Galen.
Hey, guys. You know, as opposed to a banana peel, I always considered myself one of those bullet bills, like, really powerful, really strong, but you gotta kind of be in last place when you use it.
Yeah, and then you you go zooming, and then everybody's like, "Oh, geez, like this is taking me a place I don't want to go."
Yeah, basically. Hi, my name is Galen. How are you?
Hey, Galen, 30 episodes. We're on episode 30. That is awesome.
Right. This is flown by. I made that realization earlier this morning.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, 30 isn't necessarily like any particular number, but just for some reason, that number, I was like, wow, we've really been doing this. Like, this just kind of started off as something fun, and it's grown into something I've really just enjoyed doing and looking forward to every week.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've enjoyed, like, just talking to you very regularly about video games, because we always BS about video games with irregularity, but now we have a show that we have to do every week, and it's, I don't know, it's nice. It's like, it's a nice bonding experience with you.
You're forced on a weekly basis to have to actually talk to me for an extended period of time.
And it's wonderful. Also, I am a masochist.
Yeah.
So whether this is your first episode or your 30th episode listening to this podcast, thank you for joining us. Oh, I should probably say, 30 episodes would not be possible without the support of all of our listeners. So thank you so very much for listening.
Without the support of viewers like you.
This program is brought to you in part by...
Remember to donate for your Nintendo Everything tote bag and your Nintendo Everything... what else do they have? Do they have, like, little umbrellas?
Do not promise anything. What are you doing? Are you going to make this stuff?
I will be honest, I would definitely use a Nintendo Everything tote bag. Just saying.
I mean, I would too. I got a lot of baggage.
Nice. I like that one.
So, what are we going to talk about in this episode? Well, there's a lot of racing happening this week. We got Mario Kart Tour closed beta going live. We also have Team Sonic Racing, or is it Sonic Team Racing? I don't remember. That game just came out. And there's also a bit of a controversy on that because of the Switch version. And speaking of Sonic, more Sonic film news. The film's release date is getting pushed back. So we'll be talking about all that and a little bit more, a little bit of Pokemon news with GameFreak. So, buckle the seatbelt in your vehicle, grab a coin and a ring, and let's spin dash into our adventure log.
Gotta go fast.
So this week, I've been getting a little bit of gaming in, been pretty busy, so haven't had too much of time. Also, before even anything, this is the early morning right now. We usually do not record in the early morning. I'm drinking coffee out of a mug shaped like a Pokeball.
It's just a round mug?
Yeah, it's round and it's really hard to drink out of.
I imagine that it would be.
It's not even just a Pokeball. It is a Great Ball. So it is blue and red, and I hope that that's the Great Ball because now...
Nice.
Wait, no. Is that what a Great Ball is?
Yeah,
the Ultra Ball's yellow,
Yes, the Ultra Balls are yellow and black, and then the Master Ball is the
Purplish.
purple.
Yeah. So the Great Ball's blue and red, right?
Not a net ball or a Duska Ball.
Oh god,
or
those are the ones I really don't know about.
my personal favorite, the Quick Ball, because I think that has a ×3 chance of just using it right off the bat.
Wow, look at me not being a capital G gamer and not knowing about Pokemon.
What can I say? Get good, scrub.
Fire me. I don't know what Pokemon is. Oh, speaking of which, have you seen that Pokemon movie, the Detective Pikachu?
Not yet. I'm actually.
Neither have I.
I'm planning on going to see it this week. I'm gonna skip ahead here a little bit. My own adventure log is actually pretty light because I've been super busy myself.
Wow, look who else isn't a capital G gamer. It's almost like we're adults with so much going on.
Yeah. And I had a wedding that I had to go to for my brother-in-law, actually.
That doesn't sound like video games.
It's not video games, but 12-hour car ride down that, and then it was my lovely wife's birthday, so I would like to do a shout out to my lovely wife. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Galen's wife, which I don't think you want me to say your name. I love you.
Aww. Tons of love.
So how about you and I both do our best to see Detective Pikachu this week, and then we'll talk about it next week on the podcast.
You know what? Done.
So this week I did get a little bit of gaming in with Yoshi's Crafted World. I beat the final boss.
Congratulations. So with the final boss beaten, how was your experience with it?
I really like this game.
Yeah?
The design is so good. It really, really is. I got all of the happy flower thingies. I did all of the things in all of the stages that were available to me. And then after you beat the final boss, there is like extra stages that open up. So I'm taking just a skosh of a break, and then I'm going to go back to it. But the design is fantastic in this game. I love the way everything looks. I love the little puzzle platforming and taking your time. It's just so relaxing. And the final boss also was pretty great. I definitely laughed out loud a couple of times, and it just brought a big smile to my face. It wasn't particularly hard or anything like that, but
Yeah.
it did challenge me a little bit, but it was very, very fun, and that's exactly what I wanted from the game.
Yeah, and I always appreciate hearing that a game with their final boss also has a sense of humor to it. So the fact that it made you laugh a couple of times, like, I'm really glad that it could craft that experience for you.
Oh my god, shut up.
Would you say that the story really spun an interesting tale?
What else you got? Just jokes. Make jokes. Funny man.
This game seems to be a cut above the rest.
Okay. I have a feeling you can go on, so I'm going to have to stop you right there. So, spoilers, I guess, if you care about the final boss of Yoshi. Big surprise.
Mm-hmm.
It's... Wait a second, hold on. Baby Bowser.
No.
Because I think technically all Yoshi games are like a prequel to Mario games.
True, but I do remember one of them having some weird like time travel aspects, so it actually turned out to be real Bowser, not Baby Bowser, for the final boss. I don't remember which one that was.
That one where they went into the future and then they had to save Princess Peach from being enslaved. Wait, no, I'm getting it confused with the movie.
No. That you're 100% accurate. That's the one with Sarah Connor in it.
Listen.
Now I'm just imagining Bowser with Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice. Your princess is in another castle.
Oh my god, can we get that? Can we get this? Can we get this on the internet? Has someone done it yet? Make Bowser with the Arnold Schwarzenegger voice, and then Daisy or Peach is Sarah Connor, and then Mario, whatever the child's name is, or Yoshi. Yeah, because Mario. Well, hold on, this is actually falling apart as I talk it out.
I just want to see Luigi as Kyle Reese. That's all I want to see.
You know, this is super topical because that new movie trailer just came out.
Which new trailer?
There's like a new Terminator movie happening right now. I don't know. I could care less. Yeah. Wait, did I just say I could care less? I did one of my worst favorite things. Worst favorite? Oh my god. See this language right now? It's not going together. I could not care less, right? Hold on.
No, that's right. That's right.
Okay.
To be completely honest, I think you can get away with I could care less.
No, because then I could care less about Terminator, and I can't. Oh my god, I've got to edit all this out. Let me talk about Yoshi.
Bow, 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 bow.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What is happening?
It's a Monday, or it's a morning show.
Did you just say Monday? It's not even that day.
It's not even Monday. What day is it? Where am I?
I'm so sorry if this is your first episode you're listening to. Thank you for being here.
Episode 30, guys. Hey.
So, the boss battle with Baby Bowser. He's always cranky and like, I want this, I want that. And then he gets like the thing that you're going after, the MacGuffin, the Yoshi MacGuffin of jewels that grants wishes. And he's like, I want a super gigantic big old robot. And then Kamek is with him. And she's like, but your crankiness. And he's like, no, robot. I want it. And it's funny because he's just like a bratty little kid the entire time. I like Baby Bowser because he gets things done, like as opposed to Bowser Jr. So Kamek's like, all right, here we go. Or wait, no, it wasn't Kamek. It was the tree. The tree builds him a robot. So then he's in this gigantic robot.
Wait, a tree?
Yeah, there's like a tree thing with jewels, and it's like, I don't know, made out of stone or something. I don't know. It's the same thing that's been in like all the Yoshi games. It's just like a different kind of object. There was like a happiness tree in Yoshi's story where it like grew fruits and heart things that looked like fruits but were actually hearts.
Okay.
Anyway, so you collect all these gems and then it grants you wishes or whatever. So Baby Bowser gets a big old robot, and then you have to do something that I don't think I've ever really done in a Mario or a Yoshi game or really any other game. And I'm not going to go super in detail because I want people to enjoy this when they first play it if they haven't gotten to this yet. You have to hit something with your egg that you're not expecting, and then like little pieces of robot attached to another part of the stage that you can use, and then you use that stage to like smack the robot with a hammer, but it does it in like such a comical thing. It's not just like a big old swing and it hits him and it's like bam, which would have been great. That would have been fun. But this one's like bam, 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 and then like whirl, 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 bam, and it hits him across the face like in just like a cute little comedic way. And Baby Bowser reacts to it so funny. And that's when I was just like, oh my god, I'm having fun. What a nice time.
I like that.
Yeah, so it is a good ending boss fight.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward to getting back to playing that, maybe in another week, where I can play some of the harder stages. Well, I shouldn't say that they are definitely harder. I haven't played them yet, but I have a feeling just because that's kind of how Nintendo does things these days, where it's like you get done with the main game, now there's a whole bunch of hard stages. So I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
And then, Galen, you and I both played Mario Kart Tour's closed beta, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
So let's transition from the adventure log over to the news, and we'll talk about Mario Kart Tour.
Nice.
Mario Kart Tour.
Remember when we do the transition to hold down the button on 2.
3, 2, 1, go.
Meow.
Hey, that was a good Shy Guy impression.
Meow.
So Mario Kart Tour's closed beta went live this week, and boy was this weird because there was no promotion for it. I mean, of course it's a closed beta, but like we haven't seen any footage of the game, we haven't seen screenshots or anything, so like you got the notification in your email if you signed up for it beforehand, and then it was like, okay, go ahead and download the game. And I was like, all right, so I was downloading it on my phone. I was like, I don't know what this game's gonna look like. This is such a strange feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So Galen, what were your impressions of playing the game? You spent a ton of time with this game this week, right?
Yeah, what little gaming I did get to play, was basically on this game. Yeah, first off, right with you, I had absolutely no expectations going into this thing. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know how the game was going to play. I didn't even know if it was going to be racing. I didn't know if it was going to be like...
Mario Kart without racing? What?
Well, and that's the thing, we didn't know. Like, we could assume, but they've literally not shown a single screenshot up until recently.
Ah,
so...
yes, Nintendo's new first-person shooter. I screwed that up.
Yeah, the tour is a tour of duty. Yeah, no, I was really surprised and more appreciative that this did actually feel like a Mario Kart game in a lot of respects. I do have to say, though, for the longest time, I did not
Wait, dial it back. Before all that, start off from the beginning with your impressions.
Okay. My impressions of the game is that it feels like a Mario Kart game. I really did get that feeling of like going through the classic stages. They translated very well over onto the phone. Everything seems like it should, or like it fits. This feels like it's playing Mario Kart for the 3DS or something like that. I did have a couple of problems with the controls, but I think that was me not taking the time to go in through the settings. I recently did just figure this out, but for the longest time when I was playing, I realized that the game kind of auto-corrected your character a little bit. So if you got too close to the edge, or if you got too close to a wall or anything like that, or during a turn, it would auto-correct you and kind of adjust you back towards the center of the track, which is fine. They actually had that feature in previous Mario Kart games, but I always turn that feature off because if I am taking a tight turn, it's because I want to try to shave a couple of seconds off of this turn, or just that the finesse that makes Mario Kart just a little bit more of a mastery of skill when you're playing it, as opposed to just like an introductory level one. So I went through the settings and I realized that you can actually turn that off, which I was very grateful for. And I would highly recommend too. So, like, there's a couple times where I was racing and I wanted to cut across this entire stretch of rough terrain because I had a dash mushroom in hand, and I couldn't do it. A dash
mushroom? I've never heard somebody say that.
I don't know why I called it a dash mushroom. It's because you press the button and you go dash.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. I know exactly what you mean, but I'm just surprised.
Yeah.
Because Mario and Mario Kart especially is such a thing that we've been playing since, like, I don't know when that game came out, like 93. And it's like if you referred to the Koopa shell, the green shell, whatever, as the calcified projectile.
The shooter Cooper?
That sounds gross. It has no reason to be, but anyway, go on.
Yeah. You know, on that note, I really like when you have two mushrooms, because then you can do a double dash. I
said go on.
Anyway. Also, I was using the touchscreen for the majority of this. I haven't actually tried the gyro controls, because honestly, I didn't know that was a thing.
It's horrible.
Have you tried it?
Yes. I tried it last night, because I was going through the settings, and I was like, oh, cool, there's gyro stuff. You have to tilt your whole phone, of course, but the screen is your phone, so then you're like tilting your head with it.
It doesn't like rotate the screen along with it?
No, I mean, like the phone is the screen. And also, it could not autocorrect that quickly unless you had like a super nice phone.
Which, I can see that
happening. Who knows if that even exists yet. But anyway, as soon as I did it and I had to tilt my neck with the screen, I was like, oh, this feels like garbage. Oh, it's awful. And then I was like immediately trying to readjust. And I ended up getting in second place that time because I was screwing up with the touch controls and the gyro controls. Oh, it was bad. Don't let your friends do gyro, kids.
No. Or Euros. Euros are okay, actually.
What? Oh, I thought you meant euro as in like money, but you're talking about euro as in the sandwich.
The food.
I love to eat a gyro. Gyros are my favorite.
One thing I really do appreciate is the focus on not necessarily getting first place, because of course that is instinctively what you want to try to do, but also the point system that you have and that you can accumulate throughout the races. So you get points for certain kart combinations. You get points for like certain tricks that you do, and if you are attacking and successfully attacking more of the other racers, like all that stuff builds up to an ultimate score, and then you get those little gold stars depending on wow, it sounds really what's the word I'm looking for?
You've lost
there's
me.
a better word. Yeah, there's a better word for gold stars, but anyway,
The Grand Stars, I think, is what they're actually called.
no, the grand stars, I like that better than just gold stars.
I don't, because it reminds me of Super Mario Sunshine. I didn't really like that game. Shots fired.
I thought it was okay.
I mean, coming off of the heels of Mario 64 and then suddenly seeing like screenshots and like video of like how beautiful that game looks, especially jumping from Mario 64. Hey, and then I was like so excited for it when I was a kid, and I was like, you know what? I kind of wish I could take this water thingy off my frickin' back.
And just run around like normal.
Yeah. And then those Mario 64 inspired stages were like the best part of that game. Anyway, while we're off the rails.
Use the autocorrect to get back on track. No, but I appreciate the point system because it has that level of certain characters and certain races do better than others, which I thought was weird to begin with. And I thought, okay, this is, what's going to encourage the microtransactions of this game itself. I want a wide variety of characters so I can always race the fullest potential. But I actually kind of looked at it as a challenge, and it actually fixes a lot of the issues that I had with the original Mario Kart games, because I would always like, oh, hey, I'm always going to play as Shy Guy because that's just my racing style, or I'm always going to use this kart combination. Like, while the other options were there and it was nice to unlock those additional things, it never enticed me because I knew what was the most beneficial thing for me. So adding this level of variety to it, I think, is a very welcome change for Mario Kart.
That's really interesting. I hadn't thought of the way that you're talking about it. I really do like the point system, because I remember I got like all 5 grand stars that you can get on this one stage, but I got second place in the race. So it didn't actually matter that I got second place, because I did a bunch of tricks, and I did a bunch of like hitting people with items or whatever, I guess.
Yeah,
and
nice.
I think that that's fun, giving players, I don't know if it's really an option because it's kind of the goal of this particular game, but it would be something I'd like to see implemented as a separate mode in a future Mario Kart game, an actual core Mario Kart game, because it's an interesting take on it.
Yeah.
And also the idea of using different characters for different stages, whether it's because they're better at the stage or whatever the reason is, just something like that encourages you but doesn't force you into choosing some different options that you wouldn't normally go with. Yeah, I do like those aspects. Overall, I am not as positive on this experience as you are, though. When I started playing it, I was like, oh, okay, well, this looks all right. Like, it's kind of right in between Mario Kart 7 and Mario Kart 8. It kind of looks more like Mario Kart 7, just like, nicer, but that makes perfect sense. It's got to be on a big old array of phones, so it makes sense that they'd kind of be safer with the graphics. It still looks nice, lots of color, which is wonderful. But so I'm playing through it, and I'm like, yep, it's rub your phone to move and stuff. And I was like, all right, this feels all right. And I got to get used to how you drift, and so I can do the boosts, because that's always my big thing when I'm playing the game, is I'm a big old drifter. I'm Tokyo drifting, and
yeah, I'm right there with you. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then so I'm playing through it, and I'm like, all right, this is all right. This is something I could see myself turning on if I'm sitting in a wait line or something at a wait line, a queue at a grocery or something like that. A wait line. This is a strange podcast. This is Strange Duck. And so I'm playing along a little bit, and then it's like, you got all of these coins. I'm like, cool. Oh, wow, I got a lot of coins, like 400 or whatever. And then, the stars. And then here's some emeralds. Oh, and don't forget to look at your hearts. Oh, and then there's items to replenish your hearts. Oh, and the points and the action counts and a coin rush ticket. And I'm like, Jesus, this is why I don't play freaking phone games, because it's just like, manage all of these little things and log in bonuses and make sure you're playing the game, because it's all of these things that you have to juggle, right?
Yeah, it's an element of currency fatigue in a sense, where
Exactly.
you just have one too many things to take care of.
But it's like forcing you to get used to these systems that you have to manage and juggle and log in bonuses, because nobody can properly manage all of that unless they're like really dedicated to the game. And if you're really dedicated to the game, you might want to be doing the microtransactions. And if you aren't, then you're falling behind, and then that might encourage you to do microtransactions. It depends on the person's personality. These kinds of games prey upon people that have a certain mentality to them.
Absolutely.
It's
absolutely.
especially these days, FOMO, fear of missing out. It is such a social phenomenon, and that's exactly what these kinds of games go after. That said, I will say that like it feels like you can really play this game without doing any microtransactions, which is good. That's what, remember Games not complained, but like sort of made this like almost passive aggressive statement about Nintendo, where they said, oh, well, we didn't make as much money this quarter because Nintendo asked us to loosen the microtransactions in Dragalia Lost.
Yeah. No, I remember that.
What was it? Players, when Dragalia Lost first came out, and Games and Nintendo co-developed that game for phones, and people complained that the microtransactions were like too, what was it, in your face, or like it was the winning rates, I think, were just really poor, and people complained about it. So then Nintendo, in an update, told Games to loosen it and make it a little bit more beneficial for people. And then Games was like, oh, well, we can't squeeze as much money out of people, and that's why we're not making the monies. And it's so funny. It's so backwards, right?
Well, and I'm actually very appreciative of the way that Nintendo is handling microtransactions, to be completely honest. Like,
I would just say that appreciative is such a weird word to use in this situation. But please go on. Please tell your point of view.
Yeah, like, and this goes beyond just what they're doing in Mario Kart Tour, which, by the way, as a side note, I didn't even know what Hearts did for about the first, 3 days that this was live. Like, I kept getting these notifications on my phone. I was like, hey, your hearts are completely full. And I'm like, cool. I have no idea what that means, but sure.
That's what white girls post on the internet all the time. My heart is full.
Oh, God. Unsubscribe.
Yeah, exactly. There are certain sayings that some people use that sound so empty and disingenuous, and that is one of them. My heart is full. You know what I say? My fart is full. I am editing that out.
Okay.
That's not funny. It came out way less funny than I thought it would be.
Anyway, but no, this goes beyond Mario Kart Tour. I mean, I also notice this a lot with Mario Run as well, where microtransactions are an option, but in no means are they encouraged, and they're more there as an option.
Wait, didn't Mario Run not have microtransactions? I thought that game was just to purchase it and it's done.
It had some I believe it had some microtransactions if you had the free version of the game, if you wanted to get more tickets to run on like the 100 world whatever mode, not like the actual levels, but like here's a series of 5 random levels that we're just going to throw through. But also they had the, hey, here's $15 and you can own every single level in the game and just buy it right out.
Huh. I barely played that game because I don't really care for runners, and I didn't like how it felt, so I didn't buy it. So I have no idea about that one.
It was fun. It was a good game to be playing while you were in the wait line. But
shut up, you jerk!
Nintendo seems to be taking this stance of, we are not going to try to push microtransactions. We want you to play the game, and we understand that microtransactions are a necessity because we're not charging for the game itself. I mean, free to play, it doesn't mean it's free to make. They have to recoup their losses somehow. I mean, as fun and inviting as Mario Kart Tour is, it's not necessarily a passion project that people just want to see come out to the world. Like, obviously Nintendo is doing this because they want to make money off of it.
Yeah. I wouldn't personify the goals of Nintendo and microtransactions with their mobile games in the same way that you are, but I will say that they are definitely a lot more generous and lenient than most other companies.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I feel like Nintendo as a whole has been taking a very respectful approach to microtransactions.
Oh my god, why did you just use the word respectful in that sentence? See, this
because
is where we're so totally different on this whole thing. Sorry, go on.
No, I feel like they are taking a respectful approach to it, and they're trying to do it in a way where it's like, let's meet at the middle ground here. We have to have microtransactions, but we're not going to shove them down your throat.
Yeah, I mean, still, the game is designed in a way to fatigue you into making microtransactions, and it's designed in a way to keep you playing constantly to chase those points, to chase that level up. And that's such a hollow experience to me, which might be a bit ironic for me to say, because I love to play RPGs and level up my characters and get stronger and stuff, but I'm enjoying...
I'm sorry, how many levels have you grinded in Chrono Trigger?
In Chrono Trigger, not very much. That game is paced brilliantly. That game is fantastic. But my point is that I'm enjoying the world and I'm enjoying the characters as well. Not to say you can't do that with like Mario Kart Tour. I'm not shitting on somebody for the way that they play a game at all, but it's just, for me, all I can really see is that the game is designed in a way to make you play and spend microtransactions, and that makes me have less fun with the game. Just saying, for me, I could very easily see myself keeping this on my phone and having it be like the one actual game that I have on my phone, because you can play it when you're standing in the wait line, and I get it.
So let me ask you this then. Let's put on our tinfoil hats.
Let's not.
And say...
I have no alfoil here.
No aluminium?
No aluminium foil.
Let's say they come out with a free version of the game, but hypothetically, I'm not saying this is confirmed or anything, what if they did the same thing they did with Mario Run, where they also came up with a paid version, where it was $15, you got unlimited amount of races, and you also had, like, let's say all the characters unlocked. So you still had the chase of it where you had to go after the different carts and the different cart pieces, but it gave you more flexibility and the ability to play it as much as you wanted to without having to worry of that microtransaction aspect. Would you find this game more appealing?
Yeah, I would. Just because it wouldn't be so overt of like login bonus and, oh, you got emeralds, and make sure you pull the pipe down to shoot the character out, and there's a beautiful animation so that way you're like, whoo, I'm gambling, like I mean, I think I said this before, where with Mario Run, I wanted to buy that game and support it and just be like, oh, okay, I like this game, so I'm gonna buy it. However, the problem is I didn't like that game, so I didn't buy it. But I'm super supportive financially of games that do something well, or just media in general that does something well. Just being an adult now, I'm much more of a person who votes with my dollar. If I really don't like something that a business is doing, I won't shop there, I won't buy their game or whatever. And to each person is their own, and it's very much a personal process that you go through where you choose where to spend your money or not. Yeah. And with something like that, dialing it back, sorry, that's a big old conversation right there. That's a bag of cats we're going to save for later. I would, if this was a one purchase thing, I would do that, and I would buy it after spending a little bit of time with it just to make sure that I do actually like it, because I've seriously only played this like 2 days, I want to say.
Yeah, it came out, what, last Wednesday or something?
I don't even know. Like, I downloaded it the next day, so clearly I was not that excited.
Yeah, I feel like this is something that we could safely say we're going to see more of at E3. I wouldn't be surprised if this is... Well, and just like, see it as E3, I expect this to be like a shadow drop, because usually when they get into this stage of the beta...
What?
What?
What? What do you mean a shadow drop? What are you talking about right now?
What are you complaining about and questioning right now?
Wow, if anybody wanted to know what our show is about, we could play that 5-second clip of me being like, what are you talking about? And you being like, what are you complaining about? And that's the show. That is the damn show.
30 episodes just recapped right there.
Wow. How beautiful. It's like poetry.
Oh, it's a life in motion.
I don't really think that they're going to talk about this too much at E3. They might mention it a little bit for promotion's sake, but I really don't think that they're going to be doing much else. I mean, this is still a closed beta. You can't download the game unless you applied for it ahead of time.
Yeah, but I'm also looking at the history of betas as a whole, and this is really the first time that I've seen Nintendo do a beta like this before.
Also, this isn't really a beta. Like, the word beta is being
it feels like a demo.
Misused. Yeah, that's what it is.
And that is a topic of a completely different day, because I think I've mentioned this before, that betas are the new demos. Like, the concept of a demo is almost like a moot point. Like, what? Oh God, why can I not remember the name? It's the Zone of the Enders-esque game that they are coming out with a Switch.
Project Nimbus? Oh, you're talking about Daemon X Machina.
Yes, that's the one. So, and like when they said, "Hey, here's a beta for everybody," I'm instinctively thinking, "Okay, this is their demo."
They didn't say that.
I thought they had a beta for it.
They called it a prototype demo.
Oh.
Which,
well, you're just getting into weird words.
I mean, they're not wrong. They did give out a bunch of missions that were technically, I guess, I don't know, prototype is, oh wow, this is a conversation for another day. No.
Right.
Okay. Beta, so
this is a coffee talk subject.
The word beta is the new demo, and the word pre-alpha is the new beta.
Right.
I'm so tired of hearing pre-alpha, because that's their marketing way of saying like, oh, this is going to change a bunch, and this is going to excuse if it's like full of a bunch of crap. It's like, pre-alpha is like something you wouldn't show off in marketing, you know?
Yeah.
That's something where it's like full of jank, it's missing textures, it's like grids and wires and stuff on the backdrop, and you probably even have like placeholder characters that are just like whatever preset thing that's in your engine, like if you're using Unity or whatever, like as your stand-in for your character. That's pre-alpha, all right? But, okay, dialing it back. We have got to get on track. Why can't we get on track with Mario Kart Tour?
So it's because you're using the Euro sensors.
I got a lot of things. I got opinions, people, on video games. Got opinions on video games. Oh my god.
But no, I usually when they come out with a beta, they are very close to the actual launch. Like, the beta isn't necessarily so much a test on the game mechanics and the way that the game plays. It's more of a, what is it I want to say?
Stress test?
It's more of like it's a stress test of the network servers and making sure that when it launches, it's going to be able to launch smoothly. I mean, look at, I'm gonna bite my tongue when I say this, but look at Anthem with their beta. Look at Destiny, look at...
Yeah, well, that's the thing, though, is that launching those things that they call betas that are not actually betas, they're actually just stress tests, when they launch them so close to the actual game, it's not even a stress test either, because they can't change anything by the time that the game launches.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Anthem. That game launched with a bunch of bugs and errors in its netcode that people were having a hell of a time with. And it's like, the only thing that you did releasing that beta that you're calling it early is you just did that for marketing purposes to get people playing the game.
Oh no, absolutely.
It makes me mad because I can't sit around and be wrong all day.
I just feel that with the beta being launched, we're probably going to see the full product pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is just a situation where the game is mostly done.
Yeah.
They're
It looks
just
done.
testing it out a little bit to make sure that the final kinks are good and worked out. And I would not be surprised as one of their talking points at E3, they talk about this game for the people who aren't involved in the beta, who might not have known about it, and then say, oh, by the way, you can download this game later today, or later this week, or even later this month. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to spend a lot of time on it, but I think they are going to mention it, and then it's going to be like one of their, quote, surprise announcements.
Like, marketing-wise, that would be smart, but I think this closed beta runs like a really long time. It runs into June, and I feel like it runs all the way up to E3 or something? I don't know.
Runs into June. June is only 5 days away.
Yeah, but I mean, that's quite a while if the game has already been, the closed beta has already been open for several days, right? So a closed beta that's 3 weeks long, that's really long.
Possibly. Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway.
Mario Kart Tour, controls all right, looks all right. I'm lukewarm on the game because I don't care about phone games too much. I'm overwhelmed with all the currency nonsense. It just makes me want to play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That's what it really makes me want to do. And you know what?
And that's how they get you.
Well, I already got the game.
They still got you.
They didn't get me. I'm already got. I got. So I'm gonna say to all of our lovely listeners, I feel like playing Mario Kart. If any of you would like to play some Mario Kart 8 with me in the coming week, send me a message on Twitter or send us an email at nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com and send me your friend code or whatever, and let's play some Mario Kart.
I can get behind that.
Was that English? What did you say?
I can get behind that.
Oh, okay. Galen, final thoughts on Mario Kart Shua?
I'm still thinking about wait lines now. No, I think the game is good. I think it's a nice free download. I can see myself spending maybe $10 to get the full game. Like, I would put some money down on this game itself, not necessarily towards the microtransactions, because
That's all there is going to be, though. They're not going to have a full unlock.
Well, and we don't know that because we know nothing about the actual release.
We can safely assume there's not going to be a full unlock.
I'm gonna challenge you on that one. So
Consider yourself already defeated, my friend.
Yeah. You throwing that blue shell early?
I don't need to throw a blue shell because I'm in first place.
Yeah. I'm not sure about that.
I'm going to throw a green shell behind me. It's going to bounce off the wall and then smack into you after you saw it several times, and it bounces back and forth, and you're like, oh god, no. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, and then it does hit you.
Really trying there.
I am telling a story. I am spinning a yarn right now that is a story that anybody who has played Mario Kart can relate to, because you see that green shell bouncing back and forth and you're like, oh my god, I have to avoid this. How is this homing at me? It's a green shell. Moving on, we have a little bit of information about GameFreak prioritizing original projects ahead of Pokemon. This information comes from an interview with Masayuki Onoue of GameFreak, who has been a programmer on Pokemon titles and most recently is the director of GameFreak's newest game, Giga Wrecker Alt. Basically, in this interview, he mentioned how there's two main development teams, Team 1 and Team 2. Team 2 handles Pokemon. And he says, quote, "We are always trying to create something that is equally exciting or more exciting than Pokemon," end quote. He also says that the two teams work with each other and members move around. So, for example, he, as a programmer on Pokemon, was the director of this new game, and he says that he takes that new information that he learned and brings it back to the team, and synergy, all that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
All in all, to me, it sounds like they're just diversifying their talents and making sure they put all of their eggs not in one basket.
Yeah.
I think that you can kind of read the headline and sort of get like a like a clickbaity thing, like GameFreak no longer cares about Pokemon. But I don't think that that's what's really happening here when you read the interview.
No, reading through the interview, it's more of just like, I feel like this is a standard explanation of a diversification within their project goals. Like it makes sense that they want to try to make something as successful or more successful than Pokemon, which granted for a 20-year-old, 25-year-old game, that her game series, that's a pretty high order to call for. But I mean, you don't want to, what do I want to say, milk the golden goose. That just sounds wrong.
What is wrong with you? Why would you say that? That's gross.
You don't want to focus too much just on one thing and just be like, hey, we make Pokemon. Hey, you guys heard about Pokemon? Pokemon? Yeah, Pokemon. We know about Pokemon.
So Pokemon is at no risk of like going away at this present time, but it is of course good to diversify yourself.
Exactly.
Ultimately, it makes me very excited for some of their upcoming projects, particularly Town. Do you remember that game?
I do remember that. I was actually going to mention that.
Yeah, because it sounds like they want to put out fresh ideas, right? So it sounds like they're really going to put a lot of their effort into this game, as well as other games. And I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah. I have had my eyes on Town when they first announced it. Oh God, what was it? Like E3 of last year, was it?
No. I don't think it was E3. It was a direct for sure.
Oh yeah.
It was when we were doing the podcast as well. So end of last year, I want to say.
I think you're right. Yeah, no, I mean, I've wanted to know more about Town for quite a while now, and it makes me happy to know that they are not just focusing purely on Pokemon because it is the big name right now. They're more focusing on this other thing first, which makes me think that we might actually get a release date for Town before we get a dedicated release date for Pokemon, because Pokemon, we know the time frame, but do we have an actual date?
No. It just said like late 2019, which that's the biggest surprise never, because everybody knows that that's going to come out in time for the holidays, so it can make all of the money.
Yeah,
so maybe we'll see a little bit more information of it at E3. That would be awesome. Especially because for me, that Pokemon Sword Shield reveal kind of underwhelmed me. And I mean, honestly, the way that Town looks, it looks very fresh, as opposed to the Pokemon Sword Shield just looks like the Sun and Moon games, just nicer, which is, it's nice, but it's like, this doesn't feel like the big old jump to a new piece of hardware. So I was underwhelmed by it, but perhaps that's me putting my own expectations in the foreground of my mind. So perhaps that was a bit unfair to the series. Regardless, doesn't change how I feel. I'm underwhelmed.
Yeah. I'm still excited to go through that foggy forest that they teased in the trailer. So that's just me.
Yeah. I did want to point out a reader comment from one of our articles that we've got linked. A reader by the name of Lucky Mavo. Sorry if I said this wrong. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. He or she said, quote, "It'd be nice if someone else would make a mainline Pokemon game and do the things GameFreak won't. Monolith Soft is my pick to helm this project, especially after Xenoblade 2 Torna," end quote. Totally agree with that person, because honestly, that's exactly what I wanted to see from Pokemon, is like basically you're running around on a field and these creatures are out and about on the field and you're finding them in their own habitat, and it would feel like you're exploring. Like, it doesn't have to be a big old open world game by any means. It can be open world, quote unquote, in certain areas, just to give you the breadth of an open air area. But it can still be focused how Pokemon usually is, where it's like, okay, now you go to the town. Now there's this big route that you can go to, and then there's a couple of branching paths, but it's pretty linear with a couple of different options. Anyway, I would love to see Pokemon using the engine that Torna uses. I would love to see that. That would just make me so excited.
That would actually be pretty cool. Like,
that's what I'm talking about.
I think that would be a really fresh take on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, they're playing real safe with Pokemon, which makes sense. They've got to play safe with it, I guess. But I would love nothing more than to see a franchise like Pokemon that is so big, needs to be safe, has all of this potential with great creature design, and just let them go a little bit out of the box with it. And I think that's still a safe step for them to take, where they are using an already established formula with a fresh coat of paint. Not even a fresh coat of paint. It's more than that. They're using a different engine. Oh, God. Sorry, I'm babbling because I love the idea that I have in my brain.
Yeah, I still want to see my Mega Man Battle Network-esque grid-based combat in a Pokemon game, so...
That might happen in one of those crazy spin-offs. You know how Pokemon does the spin-offs.
That'd be cool. I'd play that.
Yeah. Anyway, great comment. Lucky Mavo. It's exactly what I'm thinking about. I love it.
Never underestimate Sonic speed!
And lastly, we're talking in the news. Sonic.
Gotta go fast!
Sonic, as of late, has not had the best news surrounding him, but I guess what else is new in this day and age? Feels so bad for Sonic fans. So the Sonic film that was supposed to release in like November of this year has been pushed back to February 2020, specifically Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2020. This comes per the director Jeff Fowler via a tweet. The director says in the tweet, quote, taking a little more time to make Sonic just right. And then he also puts in a hashtag, no VFX artists were harmed in the making of this movie. Now, I got opinions on this, but before I start doing that, what are you thinking?
I just can't get over the fact that they moved the date to Valentine's Day, because what better way to tell everybody to get fucked
All right!
than to move it to Valentine's Day?
You did not come up with that joke. You read that somewhere.
I actually did. Back on topic. Can't wait for you to censor that one out. Anyway. I'm actually glad that they pushed this back. I'm surprised that they pushed that back because you don't really see that a lot, especially in movies. It gives me a little bit of thought as to, okay, maybe they actually are going to address some of the aesthetic comments, especially with that hashtag of no VFX guys were harmed. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like so burnt out when it comes to just the Sonic movie in general. Cause...
Me too. I have to say, okay, so you're, as usual, a little more optimistic than I am. I am not optimistic about any of this news at all. I think that hashtag no VFX artists were harmed in the making of this movie. I think that that's really gross. I think that it is quippy and sort of smug, in my opinion, to say something like that. Industry crunch is such a big issue, and it's a very topical one, too. Lots of reports and, I don't know, exposés have come out in the last couple of years in a lot of different kinds of media industries, and I'd rather he or their PR team made a more serious statement about the well-being of low-level workers and avoiding crunch or something like that.
Yeah.
That, I think, would be a much more classy move, regardless of whether I really believe it or not. That would have been a much more, I think, smart move in terms of just marketing alone, where they're like, hey, look we're pretending we actually genuinely care about this, rather than, no VFX artists were harmed. Like, just, eat your own fart. Like, so gross. And cool, they're pushing it back. Hopefully this doesn't cause crunch. Based on what we heard about when this come out, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, the original trailer, and then they were talking about like, oh, okay, we're gonna make changes because people didn't like the way that Sonic looks.
Yeah.
And then a whole bunch of people like on Twitter that are working in the profession, 3D animators, whatever, they were like, wow, is this not enough time for all of these different things to be changed, even if you need to change only the bare minimum of all these different things, there's so much more work that goes into this than people actually know. And of course, I don't work in the profession, neither do you. So we can only assume like, oh, okay, say 3 months. That seems like enough time for them to change just a couple small things. Apparently it isn't. Apparently there's a lot of stuff that needs to go to it. I can only just kind of trust the word of professionals on this. I don't know. Hopefully this is enough time for them as well, February 14th. But we also have to remember they don't genuinely have 8 months or 9 months from now to do this.
No. Because you've got the promotion, you've got more trailers that you have to make. There's so much more that goes into it.
Licensing, toys.
Yeah.
Post-production, like so much more stuff has to go into this. They might need to do some reshoots with the actual actors. There's lots of stuff that like there's so many unconsiderable things about this.
Yeah. On that note, I would not be surprised if they actually do some creative editing and they actually cut out a lot of the scenes with Sonic. Like, I can already foresee there being complaints that, hey, this is a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and Sonic the Hedgehog is only in like 40% of the movie, or just like some stupidly low number like that or something. I can see that being a thing.
Yeah. That's I just agree. Yes. But another thing I want to say about that is that for the people that are animating this, surely the work order was complete. Those animators are on to another project. They have to hire either the same ones back or new animators back, or new animators. And I just know in big business how slowly administrative things can move, like getting work orders approved, getting funds approved. And so I'm just skeptical of this news in general being positive. Overall, it's better than what it was before, where they're like, okay, we're going to fix it, and it's coming out in November still. So it is better, but I don't know if they're actually saying like, oh, okay, we're pushing it back for the sake of visual effects artists, so that way nobody has to lose their weekend and everybody gets to see their family still and have a social life. I really don't feel like it's that. I really feel like it's this is literally impossible for us to hire a team back, fix anything, and then still have it released.
Yeah.
This is still big business only caring about themselves. This is not them caring about small people at all.
You know, it's just like I said last time we talked about this. I feel like this is just them sowing the seeds of an excuse to use later on why this movie fails.
Yeah, I could see that too. But, I mean, that's the other thing. Sure, go ahead and fix Sonic. Actually, I know that that's the outrage thing on the internet, and outrage is infectious, but Sonic's design looking bad is actually the smaller of the complaints of this film in general. Like, if you fix Sonic, it's not gonna make this bad film better. And of course, it's not out, haven't seen it. The movie's not even finished, apparently. So I can't say that this is a bad film, but that trailer made the movie look freaking awful.
Yeah.
It doesn't look funny. It looks completely tone deaf. That's just me, right? That's just me. But it's like, okay, maybe Sonic will look a little bit better and cool. Some people will be appeased, but I don't know. It just doesn't look funny or anything.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I'm just at the point where I recognize how bad the trailer is. I know how bad this movie looks like it's going to be. They've said that they want to change some things. They said that they're going to make some corrections. So I'm going to hold my apathy and disappointment in this until they come out with another trailer. Like, I don't think there's anything they can do that would sway me away to a point where I'm actually excited for the movie coming out. Other than like chili dogs going on half sale or something.
That's what they need to do. They need to just do stupid stuff like that. Get the writers of Sonic Boom. Have it be self-referential. Like, you can fix this comedy. There's so many opportunities there with it. Just like have Sonic eating chili dogs. Have him look mostly like he does in the comics. Or comics? What? Video games.
There are comics.
There's a lot of comics. I've seen some stuff on the internet. So is he, Sonic. They made that joke in Sonic Boom. And I'm talking about Sonic Boom, the TV series. Something came up where they're like, oh, this is like weird pictures. And then Sonic in the TV show actually said, oh, just like all those pictures of me on the internet. He said something like that. That's hilarious. That's perfect. And, if like he showed up and he was like looking weird and, very cartoony like he is, they'd be like, you look like a video game character. And all he would have to be is like, just say, what the hell is a video game? And that's it. You know what I mean? Just to address like how weird he looks if they went with his original design. Ugh.
I'm really hoping that in the movie there's a little kid who's just like, Sonic has saved the day, he's become a hero, and this little kid walks up and hands him a picture of Sonic.
I don't know. God, I don't care. I genuinely don't care about this
Right?
movie or Sonic as a franchise. I'm just not into it. I don't dislike it or anything. I just don't care. The only reason I'm even like paying attention to this stuff is because we run this podcast, right?
Mm.
If we weren't running this podcast, I would have just seen how terrible he looked in the movie and been like, that looks like shit, and then moved on with my life. But now I have to follow it.
I find it interesting because video game movies themselves have such low expectations to begin with. Like, all you have to do is make it not cringy, and I think you would be considered as a quote successful video game movie. But this goes below that bar of expectations. Like, it takes effort to be a bad video game movie.
It goes right in the dumpster with all the other ones.
Yeah. When your most profiting video game movie is Final Fantasy The Spirits Within, you know something is wrong.
Oh my god, is that true?
Yeah. No, most profitable video game movie.
Wow.
Look it up.
Profitable? Because
Yeah.
that movie cost a lot of money to make.
Oh no, they lost tons of money, and I think
Yeah,
that
so it wasn't profitable. You mean like gross?
maybe I'm thinking of like Metacritic score, but even then it's like a
What?
37.
That doesn't have anything to do with money at all. What? You're throwing out words. You're throwing out words and being wrong on the internet. You can't be wrong on the internet. Somebody will know.
I thought that's all the internet was, just people being wrong.
Like, finally, we'll talk about this later when more Sonic news on the film comes out, I'm sure. But it is important to remember who the audience is for this film, right?
Mm-hmm.
A large portion is going to be young kids, and they're going to be fine with, like, Sonic looking weird because they're kind of not going to know. They're just going to be like, CGI character, furry, haha. He made a poop joke, whatever.
Oh, this looks like Alvin in the Screequel.
That voice was terrifying and gross, and never do it again.
I'm going to do that voice all the time now.
But with this film being from a mascot that's around like 30 years old, there's going to be the diehards to casuals who are in their 20s and 30s and older who have seen these games and played these games, and they're going to be part of the audience too. So there is that argument for those two major markets for this film. I don't know. This is just a dumpster fire. They should just cancel it. Cancel it like everything.
You know, what they should do is, instead of the script, they should scrap the entire thing and use my OG character that I created. Please don't steal.
What's its name?
Roy the Hedgehog.
What?
Yeah. He's actually the love spawn of Sonic and Shadow. And
we
he
are
was
not reading.
He is born
your
with all of the
shameful
crystal
Sonic fanfiction on this podcast.
He was born with all of the Chaos Emeralds and the negative Chaos Emeralds at the same time. So he can go Super Sonic 2.
Galen, you want to make episode 30 your last?
Shoot. Not my day.
So in addition to all that Sonic racing teams, cars, controversy, what is this game called? Team Sonic?
Team Sonic Racing.
Thank you. There's a bit of controversy with the Switch version because it doesn't have the opening cinematic. People were like, why does every other version of the game have it, but this one doesn't? And then Sega responded and they said that it's due to cartridge size restrictions. And then that's kind of not true. It kind of is, kind of isn't. They wanted to use a certain size cart, probably 8 gigabytes or whatever.
Yeah.
And if they included the cinematic, it would have pushed them over that. They could have purchased a larger cart, We have games that come out on Kart that are larger than 8 gigabytes,
Yeah.
but they didn't want to do that because that probably increased their production costs. So that's kind of not true. It's kind of placing the blame in another person's basket. I don't know. That's a bag of cats, though.
Yeah. And I mean, it's... On the one hand, it is just the opening intro. It's, you know,
Yeah.
most people, when they boot up the game, they just go ahead and skip it because they want to get to the game itself.
Yeah.
The only exception is that the opening theme...
Oh, my God.
Yeah, like the opening theme from Crush 40. What I just had this up. Greenlight Ride is
Boy,
the
was I
theme
never,
song.
ever going to know that.
That's why I do research. Crush 40 does have a pedigree of being one of the most catchy aspects of the modern Sonic games.
Wow, because I muted that immediately. It's awful. It is the worst.
There's a reason why rolling around at the speed of sound is a catchphrase in the Sonic games.
Hey, I got places to go. Gotta follow my rainbow. I know about the Sonic lore, see?
Yeah, I like that.
There's a whole reason why Sonic is not for me, and these are some of the reasons. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Regardless of personal taste, I will acknowledge that some people really do appreciate this music, and
Yeah,
they really do. Like, it is something that they thoroughly enjoy. So removing that from the intro, I can see why this is getting a little bit more attention than the idea of, hey, there's not an opening, cinematic movie.
Yeah, the thing that surprises me is, like, why wouldn't you just it's not a very long video. It's, I think, a minute 40.
I want to say so, yeah.
You would think, why wouldn't you just compress it and lower the resolution so that way it doesn't take up as much space? Maybe cut the opening cinematic just a bit so that way it shortens it, and then you have, like, an abridged version of that opening cinematic, maybe a minute long.
Yeah.
And whatever, it's there. It'll look fine. Like, it's a pre-rendered thing.
I honestly think this was all just like cost and nothing else. Like
Exactly.
They also went on record saying that they are not going to be putting forward any updates or anything as like download once the game has been launched to incorporate that in there. And that really confused me. I was like, why would you do that? And then I realized that a lot of companies, they actually charge for updates when they push that forward. So yeah, I was trying to actually research. I couldn't find the stats, but trying to research how much it would cost to push an update once a game has actually been launched out.
So you're jumping ahead just a bit, but I wanted to say before we start talking about that, because that is an important topic, the moment that you need anything to be done that's slightly different on one version of the game versus the other, that increases your budget. And while I think they should be allocating a little bit of budget to put out a good product, we do have to remember that that's the reason for this game not having the cinematic, is because it would take even a moment of man hours to do that.
Yeah.
And of course we can like complain logically, like, but it won't take that long, but it's not that much work. Totally agree. However, in business terms, that's the reason.
Yeah, and that's the big thing here. Like, it's easy as a fan to say, hey, you can compress it. Hey, you can make it shorter. Hey, you can just tweak a couple of things.
And we agree with that.
Yeah, the thing is, in reality, neither of us are on the financial aspect of the industry.
Right.
So there could be a lot of stuff that led to this decision that we aren't aware of. And quite frankly, the specifics would bore us in a sense.
But like you were saying about the not putting it in through an update or something like that, that is really surprising why they wouldn't just patch that through. That's a great aspect to consider, that updates perhaps are being charged for with each update and each patch.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case or not, but that is something also to consider, just things that you don't think of as just a consumer. But on that topic, I've been hearing some complaints on the game of a small character selection and only 7 tracks in the whole game.
Really?
And then there's no DLC planned for this game at all, whether it's free updates, whatever. They said there's nothing planned. And this is a smaller game. It is a $40 release, not a full $60 release. But still, if you're putting out a game that doesn't have all that much replay value with only 7 tracks, that's still sort of surprising to me.
Yeah. I really feel like they put this out because they felt like it was a good idea to have some sort of like Mario Kart competition.
I mean, that's weird.
Yeah, like it's little things like this which makes me feel like they don't have a lot of passion behind this particular project, and it's more of they're just looking at the numbers and the bottom line more than anything else.
And it's so funny because Sonic is such a beloved character.
Mm-hmm.
People want to love Sonic games. Remember when Sonic Mania came out and it was good for the people that like Sonic? People were like, best game ever, best game of the year, because people just want to love Sonic, and Sega is giving them every reason not to. But all of the masochistic Sonic fans, those poor fans, are just getting strung along.
But you're also, this is the same company that is deciding that the character who canonically can run at the speed of sound is being placed into a car.
Yeah. I know that's low-hanging fruit. But for me...
I'm just reaching up and grabbing it.
Yeah. That is just something for suspension of disbelief. I can totally do that. Whatever, they want to make a kart racer. Who cares if they have to put him into it? Whatever, I don't care. Like, that doesn't matter to me. That said, though, this is a racing game, and this runs at 30 frames per second on the Switch. That sucks. This should be running at 60. It's a racer. You're going real fast, real fast, and you want it to be smooth, visually smooth. But that was probably the easier thing for them to do in terms of man hours.
They are probably running, and again, this probably has something to do with the financial restrictions at the time, but I believe that the reason why this is running at 30 instead of 60 is because they wanted to incorporate more on the game in handheld mode, as opposed to like the difference between putting it in handheld and putting it in the Switch dock.
I feel like it doesn't even go that deep. I feel like it's based on the other versions. They want to do parity with all versions as much as possible because that's the easiest and cheapest way to develop the game. Mm-hmm. So what's just the easiest way? Let's not change geometry on the assets. Let's just lower the resolution. Let's lower some of the lighting or whatever. Just if there's any sliders that they can do. Again, this is me assuming a whole bunch of stuff. But it seems like they just did like whatever is the easiest, quickest, and cheapest thing to do to make the game look fine. And it does look very good. It's just that it runs at 30 frames per second and it's a racer. It'd be like if you have a fighting game that runs at 30 and everything else runs at 60. Like, it just doesn't feel as smooth.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate. And you know what is unfortunate? It's unfortunate, also,
but it is unfortunate, but honestly, like, I would more focus on, like, are the mechanics of the game fun enough to warrant wanting to play it consistently? Because if it was...
Yeah, that's true. Because, I mean, who cares if it runs well and it feels like crap to play?
Yeah.
But I'm saying that when the other versions are running at a better frame rate, like, why wouldn't they just prioritize the frame rate instead of the resolution? Mm-hmm. On a racing game, like, that's like one of the few genres that where you definitely, without question, prioritize the frame rate above the resolution. But I did want to say, I was talking to one of our reviewers casually, and I'm pretty sure he said that he got this game for his Xbox One X, and he said there's still frame dips on that. So
really?
Yeah, apparently this just kind of isn't optimized particularly well, which, what else is new in modern gaming?
Rolling around at the 30 frames per second.
So let's move on to additional DLC.
Yeah.
Galen, what you got for our listeners this week?
I have actually got a card game this week. It is a game that I picked up quite a few years ago. It is called Once Upon a Time, a storytelling card game. And it's actually a lot of fun. How you play it is basically you draw a number of cards, and each card has a subject, a place, a noun, something like that. And it's usually fantasy themed. So you have towns, you have caves, you have dragons, you have toad, just different things like that. And the idea is that you are supposed to tell a story, and you are trying to reach your end card, which you start the game with, and it is a line that you have to end your story with. But as you tell the story, the other people that you're playing with, if you say a word like, hey, this guy, he went into town, somebody else could play a town card, and then they take over the story. And they're trying to get to the end of their end card. So you're telling the story together, and it's kind of weaving and changing directions in certain ways. And it's really kind of interesting because it also encourages you to actively listen for moments that you can kind of jump in and take over on the story too. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it, and I'm sure you can pick it up for like $20 on Amazon or something like that. The game's been out for a little while. The link in the description I put is actually a guy. Wow, I totally had this up and then minimized it. It's a guy called the Board Game Network who does tutorials on different board games and whatnot. But he actually, this link is a tutorial on how to play the game and kind of explains the rules in a little bit more detail. So if you're interested, definitely check it out. Highly recommend it. And it's a lot of fun just to kind of like sit around casually and just see how weird and strange you could take your stories.
That sounds like a great game to sit down and play with friends with a bottle of wine.
With a bottle of wine, and then you always see who takes the story in kind of like weird directions and sometimes naughty directions. Because there's always that one person is like, and then they made out. And it's like, oh, okay, come on. No. Oni, what do you got today?
So I would like to recommend the newest video from Stop Skeletons from Fighting on YouTube. This video is called Secrets of Shindo Wave Race and Mario 64. This channel, Stop Skeletons, they go over like every little detail of a certain topic in gaming. They genuinely investigate and uncover little interesting facts or secrets. This particular video is about the updated re-releases of Wave Race and Mario 64 that had Rumble features implemented in them. These were Japan-only exclusive updates. So this is something that a lot of Western audiences don't know about. And I love Stop Skeletons for this very reason. They uncover so much cool stuff. If you think about channels like Did You Know Gaming as like introductory courses of like, oh, here's some 101 information, you can think of the videos that Stop Skeletons do as the graduate courses.
Nice. So this is 102.
No, graduate course. This is like 401.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But Did You Know Gaming a prerequisite? Like, do you have to take that and then like a science class in order to take this one?
No, Did You Know Gaming is like basic. Very basic. I don't even think I've ever learned anything from any of those videos. Those are seriously just like something you put on in the background or something you put on when you like want to turn your brain off. Like, I'm not learning anything from that at all. You'll learn something from Stop Skeletons though. In general, I just want to recommend their channel because they work really hard to make good content and they're pretty positive people, and I just enjoy their goofy and genuine presences. It's very nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
The one guy, Derek from Stop Skeletons, he's been on YouTube, and even before YouTube was a platform, he was on, God, I forgot what it was called, as the, happy video game nerd, because he was trying to be the opposite of the angry video game nerd, because he was like, you know what, we just need to be positive, and I really like that. He seems like a really nice person.
That's fun. I like that.
Yeah. Now, let's move on to some listener mail.
Actually, would you mind if we skip listener mail this
I knew you were going to say that, you jerk. So Galen has to run to work because we still have our day jobs. If you want to help us quit our day jobs, share this podcast.
Gotta make that gold coin.
So we have to apologize to our writer on this week named Brian. I'm sorry, Brian. We will read your email next week.
We'll do 2 emails next week.
Will we do 2 emails next week? It all depends if we get an email next week. We need an email. And if you have an email and you want to give that email that we so desperately need to us, you can write us that email and send it to nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com.
That email is nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com. Send your gold coins.
We need the email. So what's coming up, what's coming out on nintendoeverything.com? We have a awesome, big Tetris 99 translation with the devs on how the game came to be, some scrapped mechanics, and some
Nice.
future plans for the game. So do check that out on our website, nintendoeverything.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @nineverything. And of course our YouTube, where you might be listening to this podcast right now, youtube.com/nineverything. You can follow me on Twitter @Oni_Dino, or also check out my Instagram @Oni__Dino, where I am going to take a picture of my Pokemon mug with coffee in it right now and put that up on in the Insta. And Galen, how about you?
You can always find me on the Twitter @Mobius087, where I don't have any fun Pokemon mugs, so I'll just take a picture of like my cat or something.
Oh, that's great though. Cats are great.
Cats. I hear the internet likes cats.
You can also complain to him on Twitter about why we're not reading emails in this episode.
I'll take the blame on this one.
Actually, no, don't do the Twitter. Send us emails complaining, please.
Yes.
And while you're writing that email, after you send that email off to us, you can also like us and rate us and all that junk. iTunes ratings is particularly helpful. I need to start saying this like closer to the beginning of the episode because everybody who's listening right now already does this. So stay tuned for next week. And until then, for everything Nintendo,
Stay tuned to Nintendo Everything.
bye-bye.
Later, everyone.